thyself. When I arrived here in Shenzhen, I had my backpack, and this backpack was full of questions, issues, and trying to find inspirations. But this backpack is not something that is especially for you. I mean, I was not bringing here to helping solving all these problems or these issues, but actually something that I bring with me every day, every single day, my local activity, my makerspace, how to try to involve people in the community, how to involve the community to interact with each other, single people in hands-on activities, and try to have more impact. And this is something that it doesn't have a straight path. It's something that needs to have inspiration from interdisciplinary, in an interdisciplinary way. So the fact to come with you and meet you all with coming from all these different background, science background, research background, and see that you all had the same very particular issues too, and questions and problems made my backpack less heavy. And so it allows me to see that it was not only a matter of finding solution, but sharing experiences, personal experiences. It's really important, and it makes it easier to then go back with a different, new path that I can explore, taking inspiration for what you did, what you told us during these 3 days full of energy, and what I realize also is that it's possible to talk about science, to talk about data, to talk about impersonal things like this thing could be, with a really human touch. Sometimes these two things are not really going together. Sometimes you go to conferences to talk about these topics, and there is this way of dealing with them that is detached. You talk about something that you do, that's some results of your research, some result of your experience, but then it's detached from what you feel or what you actually moved into your body and your mind. And I think that what's unique in this type of experiences at this Shenzhen assembly is that I realized that it's possible to mix these two things. And it's really powerful, because when you add human touch to science, it's another level of energy that allows us to find solutions and paths that are unusual. And because the idea is that it's really important to start from our personal experiences and what really makes you angry, happy about. Because sometimes I used to be very shy in talking in public, and then I realized that when there is something that I really care about, comes from here, it doesn't come from here. So it just pushed in my brain, and I need to shut out and say it. So that's my experience, my path through life. I learned to do that. So when I feel something here, then I work a lot and share experiences, and until this is translated through my body and comes out from my mouth. And so I think that every one of you, I felt that what you said and what you explained with very nice, let's say, reasons and proofs and data was coming from here, not from here. So thank you very much for this.
So I had to make notes, so I don't remember. Don't remember. Yeah, that's gonna go well. So way back an hour and a half ago, when Stephen was describing what this was going to be like, I was thinking, oh, that sounds so easy. How hard is it to reflect for 3 minutes? And then I started to reflect, and I was like, wow, this is a lot harder than you think it is. But in the end, I realized I think I got two major emotions in me that came out of the last 2.5 days of talking. And the first one is a real sense of fear. I look at the problems that we've talked about, and they are incredibly hard. We're talking about things that don't have a simple solution, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about them. They're incredibly interdisciplinary, and the way we've been trying to have interdisciplinary conversations amongst some very smart people just shows how hard it is, how difficult it is to understand the language, the subtle differences, the way we use words that can lead to confusions that go on for half an hour before you retrace your steps. And the problems themselves are so difficult because if you start working and pulling on any one angle, another angle is going to go off in a disastrous direction. And so in a fundamental way, I'm afraid. But at the same token, I'm also hopeful. I look at the people around, and everybody here is remarkable in a different way. And I think the most noteworthy part is how passionate everybody is. And not about the same things, right? We're not all sitting here saying, I'm passionate about this. There's different aspects to it. And in a sense, not just passionate, but dedicated and open to having the conversations. We recognize the value in figuring out how to overcome those problems of different language and different skill sets. And so as I kind of closed my reflections, I sort of looked internally and I said, what's inside of me? And so I had this really delicious vegetable dish at lunch. And it was made up of a bunch of stuff that I have no idea what it is. But it really is this mix of fear and hope. And as I look out at all of you, I start to say, hey, this is actually something really delicious that has a lot of hope and brings me something that I'd like to try again. And then as I look at all the people who haven't had a chance to have it and who are thinking externally, I think this is something that has a lot of potential to make everybody happy. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's probably not the best idea to ask me to do such a thing because I tend to try to tell the truth. So I think that really this meeting probably will change my life, but not for the expected reasons probably. So I started as an engineer. The normal thing to do would be just work as an engineer. I would be doing, better. But I moved to science because I thought it was important. So when I moved to science, then the normal thing to do would be just to, keep doing my papers, try to publish in a very high impact factor journal, and then I decided that it's probably not the nice thing to do. So I started to start doing like projects on the side because I think they are important. So I started coming to these type of conferences because I always think that it's important. I have plenty of projects on the side that I think are important. I also have 3 kids in Hawaii, and this was maybe the conference too much. And so it's a lot of strain in the life to be a foreigner in a country for so long. I've been in Paris for 20 years, and it's also the strain for my family. So if you wanted to try to do what you think is okay, instead of just, going in the sea. Thank you.
I'll try to keep to a minute and a half. How this changed me? Well, for me and my wife, it's been very difficult times in the last year, and one of the things that really helped me here was that it gave me back some sort of my love for science as some sort of an activity. I was a little bit out there, lost in other things. I stopped teaching and I stopped actually doing research, and it was very nice that I decided to come here and give a talk, and I hadn't given a talk in a while. And it reminded me that something that I always knew, but that now I am actually much more firm in knowing, which is that of course love is more important than reason, and indeed we wouldn't have reason if we wouldn't have love. I mean, the reason we have reason is because we have language, and the reason we have language is to coordinate behavior, and the reason we coordinate behavior is because we are mammals. And because we are mammals, we like to touch, we like to hug, and grow up in close proximity. And it's that drives the passion, that drives the science, and that indeed, as sensors, we're also transformations, and in the same way that things were in the East, and I'm very into lately into Chinese medicine. That of course Westerners, we don't like to talk about it because we know that it works better than ours and they live longer than ours, than us. But at the same time, we don't have reductionist model to explain it in a rational way. So therefore, we don't talk about it like most of the taboos that allow bad things to go on. And in that sense, we are a transformation, and in the distinction between the self and the environment is also artificial. If we go into Buddhism and meditation, I mean, there is basically nothing, and everything that is now is determined by our context and its fluxes of energy. And in that sense, we transform this analog nature in data, and it's only then that this data acquire meaning. So I will just go back stronger than before in my conviction of that. And very thankful for where you guys together make me recover. Thank you very much.
I will steal your extra minute and a half. So yesterday I spoke to you guys a lot about trust, and the thing that I realized I forgot was I didn't include my story of trusting based off the assembly from last year. So last year before last, I was in the middle of funding Sahara. There was no money to be had and things were really quite tight and difficult, but John had invited me to come to Paris, and I lifted up every sofa cushion I could find because I knew that it would be a really transformative experience. And I had this idea around open textbooks that I knew that I wanted to do, but it was really not fleshed out. It was just sort of a napkin kind of scrap. And I was walking around the streets of Paris with Brian, and he mentions to me that his uncle runs the open textbook library out of the university. And so we made an introduction, and we had a Skype chat, and we fleshed out things a little bit more. And then, as life happens magically sometimes, I was flying to Canada, and I had a layover in St. Paul, in Minnesota. And so I stayed overnight for the day, met with Dave, and Brian organized for me to stay with his sister. So I was adopted by the Bott family for a day. And then 2 weeks ago, Dave, his uncle, flew to Cape Town, and we formally launched Open Textbooks for Africa. And that all started from the assembly a year ago, almost to the day. So that's very special. But I'm sorry, Stephen, I can't tell you yet what magic is going to come from this conference. Recently, I saw a Sangoma, which in South Africa is a traditional healer, a medicine man. And at the end of the session, he said to me, don't speak with anyone about this for 2 weeks. And if you chatted with me at all over this past weekend, you understand how difficult that would have been for me not to be able to share that experience with everyone. But what I realized, what he wanted, was for his messages to sit inside me and to resonate and to become my truth. And I think that that's what we need more in life. We tend to be very reactive, and I think that we need to be more reflexive. And so I know that in 2 weeks or 6 months or a year from now, that there will be a great idea that will come out of this amazing assembly, and that's the magic of the Sage Assembly.
Giving a reflection so quickly is quite hard because there is really an enormous amount of information that has to be digested somehow before giving a feedback. And I try to think about what is the unity between everything I received and I saw here. And so we've seen the major movement, we've seen people trying to make science more available, reproducible. We've been people that making like patients able to say what is their situation within research. Then I just start to think what we are talking is innovation and an environment. Maybe we can reverse that and say, what is the environment of innovation? And I think that's mainly all what you are trying to achieve here is to create an environment so that innovation and making is possible. And I think finally what is important is what we do, and we see also is what we do to enable others to do in the future. So okay, let's go back and doing and making what you really want to happen.
Okay, so yeah, it's very fast after the all 3 days to have really good structure ideas of what I'm coming back home with, but okay, so it's going to be confused, sorry for that, but I will try to express. First, when before coming here, I was just saying to me, why I am going there. I have no ideas. I say, okay, open innovation, open access, that's good, science, okay. All of this I'm really interested in, but why I am invited to go in Shenzhen with such great people, because I look on the website and I say, oh my god, that's an amazing project, that's also why I'm going there. And I say, okay, I will see. That's the only thing I can do. I can say, okay, I go, I will see. And actually, I got in different conferences, and there's always a lot of great people, and you're also very great and very good project. But what I have the feeling to find here, it's I met humans, and that's good. You have all very interesting projects, but you talk also about your family and stuff like this. And this is the important thing, and we make connection between technology, our projects, and the thing that we all live together, and that's important. And we have to put connections. And what also I think I found here, it's connections. Connections between some institutions that works to have big views, big vision, ideas, and people who are like me in small communities trying to build things, and people like you who are connected to patients, and that starts to make sense in my head. You know, I know that we have to do connection, and people will say, okay, connect to him, connect to him, connect to him. Okay? Okay, I can. But why? What are we going to do together? And I think here it's starting to make sense in my head. So that's good. Talking about trust, talking about local actions, that's some reminder that are really interesting to sometimes repeat and repeat. And maybe the last thing, I'm going back home, so I have a clear idea of what I want to do, because I'm working, like, inspire people with all the things I see, and now how we can do that in action, how can we make action of that, and so how this kind of meeting, I think everybody should have access to that. This is a privilege to be here, and I think a lot of people need that. Need to meet a lot of different people, think with other perspectives, and yes, I want to try to do that at home, and how we can continue to work together, I don't know. And actually what I want to say, for my part, I need help. You know, I have ideas, but I don't know how to say in English, but you know, it's like in rugby when you want to transform you have the ball and you want to... You understand me? I can mean what I want to say. Okay, so really I need help to do that. Yeah, so I hope we can stay in touch and we can go further together.